Hi everyone. For my intervention, I chose the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator Test, and I chose this one because I personally have taken the test multiple times and I've always been fascinated with it. I was really curious about learning more about it and researching to find out if there actually is any science behind it or not. Beginning with the history and purpose of the test, I found this really interesting. Catherine Briggs, a mother and homemaker, and her daughter Isabel Briggs Myers developed the test in the 1940s, and initially it was developed as a child rearing tool. Catherine wanted to help children self actualize, so she began studying the children in her neighborhood. She gathered them in her home and tested their personalities. She started by giving their parents a forced choice questionnaire, which meant that there were only two answers, A or B, and you had to choose one of them. Parents were asked questions like, is your child calm or impulsive? Does he get upset very often or rarely? And does he sleep in your bed at night or sleep by himself? From these questionnaires, Catherine devised her first set of different personality types of children. This was the origin of the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator Test as we know it today. Later on, Catherine reads Carl Jung's Psychological Types, and it has a big impact on her. She writes Jung asking for clarification about what he meant by the terms intuitive and feeling. She wanted to use these categories to help the people in her life figure out what type they are and how to be the best type of person they can be. It was Catherine's daughter Isabel who had the idea to apply these concepts to the workplace. She decided to design a questionnaire that would help fit people to the jobs that were best suited for them. Instead of placing people into judgmental categories like good or bad and normal or abnormal, the questionnaire would reveal workers' strengths and weaknesses, acknowledging that everyone is different and better suited for specific jobs based on their type. Based on responses to the questionnaire, individuals were categorized as one of 16 personality types. The Office of Strategic Services was the first to purchase the test and used it during World War II to match covert operatives to secret missions. In the late 1950s, the questionnaire was purchased by universities that are trying to figure out how to use personality testing in their admissions processes. The test really becomes popular in corporations in the 1980s, at a time when there is a new desire to try and help workers figure out how to love what they do. The type indicator test becomes a useful tool for convincing people that they are doing exactly what it is that they are meant to do. So the target element for the intervention is individuals. Catherine was a deeply religious woman who believed that the only way to save your soul was to figure out who you were and to live life according to that best version of yourself. She wanted to help individuals achieve this by applying Jung's concepts. Later on, Isabel had the idea to apply those same concepts to individuals in the workplace. And corporations eventually used the test on a large scale beginning in the 1980s to help individual workers love what they do and convince them they are doing what they are meant to do. Now for the evidence. There actually is none. One of the institutions that was interested in being the primary publisher for the MBTI in the 1950s and 1960s was Educational Testing Services, the company that makes the SAT test. They were interested in finding a test that could do for personality testing what the SAT had done for aptitude testing, which every college could use in their admissions process. ETS tried to validate the test and they couldn't. Their team of statisticians just could not find proof for the fact that the questionnaire measured the categories that it claimed to measure, or that it was even reliable. Over 50% of people who took it got a different result when they took it a second time. There is no scientific truth or basis to the questionnaire. Calling it an indicator instead of a test is a way of getting around questions of validity. For the people who sell and market and teach based off of the indicator, the only thing that really matters is whether or not you're satisfied with the results that you are given. Moving on to the pros and cons of the MBTI. Based on a lack of scientific evidence, the MBTI should not be used as an intervention in organizations. There is simply no validity to the test, and there is no way that employment decisions should be based on the results from the indicator. I do not think it is ethical for consultants who have a true understanding of the lack of science behind this intervention to propose using it. Although Catherine Briggs and Isabel Briggs Myers meant well and had the best intentions when developing the questionnaire, the field of psychology has come a long way since their time, and the test does not hold up to today's scientific standards. I think the MBTI is an interesting test that should be taken for entertainment purposes only. Personally, I find it quite intriguing, having taken it multiple times, receiving the same result each time. I find that my own results do resonate strongly with me. However, I also understand that there is no science behind the results whatsoever. So, just some food for thought. Why is it that the MBTI is so popular despite its lack of validity? Personally, I think it's because we look to these types of indicator tests since we have a strong desire for self-knowledge. We have an innate drive to understand ourselves and want to feel like we are doing work that is meaningful to us, work that we are destined to do. The MBTI gives us straightforward answers to these types of questions and can help us find meaning in our lives. I think it's harmless and helpful when used as a tool for self-reflection. However, it should not be marketed to organizations as an intervention tool for the hiring process. We should stick to evidence-based science and facts only when it comes to the workplace. And here are my references. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation and have a great day. Thanks so much for listening.